Hey, group 4. Hello. So, sorry, the humidity doesn't agree with my bangs, but I'm going to make up for it by doing this in a super intimate setting. I'm in my bed right now. So, so I'm here to respond to Katie's vlog about hidden identities that we had for this week. Sorry, I've done this video multiple times and I'm losing my voice. So Katie asked us 3 great questions and we'll respond to all of them. The first one is about should students who have hidden identities, like hidden marginalized identities, should they have pride in those? The next one was about why hidden identities really affect the way students develop, like why and how they do. And the last one was how can Valdosta do better at instilling pride in low SES students, because there's a large portion of those on campus. So yes, I'm going to go in order this week because I'm feeling very conventional. And I'm going to start off with why students should have pride, especially students with hidden identities. So I'm going to do a throwback Monday, and we're going to go back to the Diagelli article from last week, which was about LGBTQ identities, obviously. But we're going to do, I think, obviously there's a difference in the way that you interact with students and how that identity develops, especially if someone has a hidden identity, a hidden disability, like a hearing disability or mental illness or something like that. But I think in a lot of ways I can draw a lot of parallels because of the way that students experience shame related to these, the way that they can feel isolated from them. So why students should have pride is because I'm going to throw this out here first, was on 319, Diagelli first talks about the development of LGBT community, and I think why students need to have pride in their identities is because having that pride can lead to the community development and the connection with the community. So for me, I guess, because I'm a blue and I love feelings, people having the connection and having the pride in that identity, having that pride in being hard of hearing or deaf, can create a community. Creating a community means that you have relationships, especially if that student is the only one maybe that in their high school that was hard of hearing or deaf, or their family is all hearing people. I think that can create that community and help students be successful within that community and help them identify with that. So that's my answer to that one. Alright, moving right along. Why hidden identities really affect the way that students develop. Katie had talked about students with a mental illness or mental disability, and I'm going to talk about low SES students, the theme for this week. So most of this is going to come from or I guess all of this is going to come from the Roberts and Rosenwald article, and I'm going to hit on 3 different points, I guess. So 2 of them are sort of correlated, but the first one I think is why it affects their identity is because it affects the reason that students chose to come to college, for example. So on 93 of this article, it talks about halfway through the page, I guess. A central issue for those who leave their working class backgrounds behind is that they want a better kind of work. So I guess that speaks to the motivation of why students decide to come to college. Maybe they saw their parents struggling to pay bills or working a million hours and not being able to afford basic amenities like electricity, because working at minimum wage here, assuming that person's parents were able to work at minimum wage, puts people below the poverty line. So I think that affects the reason why students come to college and maybe the way that they view college, and I think that speaks perfectly to page 109 and 110, which on 109 it said, for many participants, their financial responsibilities and internal and family pressures to seek out practical vocational preparation made engagement in such moratoria quite difficult. So in this it's talking about students who are unable to take part in kind of the fun things that happen on college campuses. And many respondents seem to have internalized suspicions about unconventional careers. Had 110. I think that sums up some important ideas, I guess, about the way that students view college. So a lower SES student might view college more as a period of like vocational training rather than like a period of like self-exploratory. And I think that is like an interesting point because it kind of conflicts with what we think is being like successful in college. We think that like maybe being on like an intramural basketball team or something is really helpful to students and helps them like build community and connect. However, that student might view it as being like, I don't have time for this. I need to be like studying. I don't have like the resources available to me to take part in those. And that's really like taking away from my success, you know? So I guess it would just like be a different conversation that you were having with that student that kind of goes contrary to what we usually do as student affairs professionals. So, okay. So the last one that we had for this week was how can VSU help to like instill pride in being like a low SES student on campus? Sorry, I'm like totally losing my voice. So I guess I'm gonna like comment on something that you said, Katie, which was that you felt really bad for students who maybe like had to work or were very like low SES. I thought that was an interesting thing to say paired with like the pride with it, because I know personally, like I didn't grow up low SES. I think I grew up probably like upper middle class, and I think sometimes I do feel like this sort of like internalized maybe like shame about that. Like I feel bad that I like had experiences, and I think that's sort of like the majority or like the dominant culture identity development models that we talked about, especially like the white identity model, because like you have more privilege, you feel guilty about it, and I think it's one of those like you can't like feel bad about it, like you can't feel guilty about it. It's more about like being cognizantly aware and recognizing and communicating with that student in the way that like can best help them be successful. So I think I loved your idea though about like providing that connection for first generation students or low SES students, like asking them to identify in that way and then providing them with more support. I think in the this was the this one, the Roberts and Rosenwald article. Again, it talks about those students not having like the same support systems that like student like non-first generation students, I guess, had, and I think that was really important. And I think I would even go like a step further beyond like emailing those students, doing like intentional programming, like pairing them with staff members, that sort of stuff to like show them, I guess, kind of like help connect them with campus resources. A lot of them don't have parents who can like explain to them how to fill out like a financial aid form, or like who to talk to about a lot of things, or like how to drop a class or something, whereas like students who are not first generation students might have that benefit already. So yeah, so I guess my thought was just like pushing it a little bit further, like with really intentional programming centered around like how to be successful in college, how to like get those opportunities, and how to connect with the campus community and where they can connect with that. So yeah, that was all I had for this week. Sorry, my voice is like really giving out, but I hope everyone is having a great week. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, all right, bye.